In South Korea, Samsung Electronics heir J.Y. Lee is free to leave prison almost a year after he was detained in a bribery scandal. A high court suspended Lee's sentence and put him on probation for 4 years. He was the highest-profile business figure caught in a corruption probe that brought down former South Korean President Park Geun-hye. Joining us live from Seoul, Bloomberg's Stephen Engle. So, Stephen, this has happened with other Samsung executives who've been sentenced to time in the past. Is this just a show?
Well, that's the big question that a lot of people are asking right now. This is like ripping off a Band-Aid before the wound is fully healed for many South Koreans. They thought 6 months ago this cozy relationship between businessmen and politicians was finally, they turned a new page on that. They thought that when that district court in August handed down the 5-year prison sentence for various charges, including corruption and influence peddling with the now deposed president. But now, after this high court, the appellate court ruled yesterday that we're going to lower the sentence down to 2.5 years. He can walk free. And sure enough, he walked free from that Seoul detention center yesterday and gave a little sentence or a statement. He read from a paper basically saying he apologized for not showing his best side. The past year was a valuable time for looking inwards to himself. But at the same time, you know, he's going perhaps back to the company, and it could be business as usual again for the chaebol here in South Korea. So you do expect him to go back to the company and go back into an operating role? Because we've talked about the fact that Samsung hasn't seemed to have been affected. You know, when you look at the earnings, when you look at the products they're turning out, hasn't been affected. The business hasn't been affected by the scandal. Yeah. And he's going to just slot right back in? We don't know if he's going to go back in to the same kind of role he had. Keep in mind, they put new division heads, including a new CEO, the former semiconductor chief at Samsung. They put new leadership at the end of the third quarter. And you're right, the company has been doing great. They had record full-year earnings. The fourth quarter was gangbusters. It didn't meet expectations from analysts, but still a very good number in chips and in mobile phones and screens. We don't know if he's going back to the company, but keep in mind, as you rightfully said, Emily, at the top, other past chairmen or heads of companies, including Lee's father, Lee Kun-hee, they have been convicted of various crimes. They were all given suspended sentences and went right back to their company. I think there'll be a cooling off period, see how the public reacts to this. And then going forward, the people that we're speaking to say this could be bad for activist investors who perhaps want change within the company. They could go on a big, massive acquisition spree. They could do what they want at the expense of the minority shareholders. That's what some of the worst case scenario, according to some of the analysts we've spoken to, could pan out to be.